The moment Emma's small hand grabbed Nikolai Volkov's jacket and that word left her lips. Daddy! Every man in a black suit within 20 feet reached for their guns, because the most feared Mafia boss in the city just froze like he'd seen a ghost. The bracelet on her tiny wrist was identical to the one he'd buried with his dead daughter 3 years ago, except his ex-wife swore it was in the grave. Now this stranger's child was wearing it, calling him daddy, and Nikolai had 60 seconds to decide if she was a miracle or a threat before his men made that choice for him. The rain hammered against the bulletproof windows of the black Mercedes as Nikolai Volkov watched the city lights blur past. His jaw was tight, his gray eyes hollow. 42 years old, and he couldn't remember the last time he'd felt anything at all. Sir, the Antonov situation is handled, his driver said quietly. Nikolai didn't respond. Handled meant another body, another betrayal, another name scratched off a list. He'd built an empire on fear and precision, controlled half the city's underground, and sat at the top of a throne made of blood and money. And he felt nothing. His fingers traced the edge of a small photograph in his pocket. Worn, faded. A little girl with dark curls and his gray eyes, laughing. Anya. Dead for 3 years. 7 years old when the cancer took her. The only pure thing he'd ever created gone. The car pulled up to Riverside Mall. Business. Always business. Across the city, in a cramped 2-bedroom apartment where the heating never quite worked, 5-year-old Emma pressed her nose against the window. The glass was cold and fogged with her breath. Mama, when is Daddy coming home? Claire's hands paused over the dishes. She closed her eyes, felt the familiar ache. Baby, we've talked about this. But you said he's out there somewhere. Emma's voice was small, hopeful. Claire dried her hands and knelt beside her daughter, brushing dark curls from her face. Emma had her father's eyes. Whoever he was. A mistake, a one-night escape from loneliness that had given Claire the only thing that mattered. But Emma didn't need to know that. Not yet. Tell you what, Claire said, forcing brightness into her voice. How about we go to the mall today? Just you and me. Maybe get some pizza. Emma's face lit up. Really? Really? Let me grab my purse. Claire stood, her knees cracking. 2 jobs. Barely enough to cover rent. The eviction notice sat on the counter. 14 days. She crumpled it quickly, shoved it in the trash. Not today. Today, Emma gets to be a kid. The silver bracelet on Emma's wrist caught the light. Delicate, with a tiny charm in the shape of a bird. A gift from Mrs. Volkov 3 years ago, when Claire had stayed late at the hospital, holding the woman's hand while her daughter slept. For your kindness, she'd said. For sitting with us when no one else would. Claire had never known the woman's first name. Never saw her again after that last night. She grabbed Emma's coat. Come on, sweetheart. Let's go have an adventure. Neither of them knew that their lives were about to change forever. The mall smelled like cinnamon pretzels and new leather. Emma skipped ahead, her light-up shoes flashing pink with each step, while Claire checked her phone. Rent was due in 6 days. Nikolai stood near the fountain, waiting for his contact. Victor and Dmitri flanked him. Silent, watchful. People instinctively moved away, sensing danger they couldn't name. Then he felt it. A tug on his jacket. Small. Insistent. Nikolai looked down. A little girl stood there, barely reaching his waist. Dark curls framed her face. Her eyes, gray, bright, alive, stared up at him with pure, unfiltered joy. Daddy! The word hit him like a bullet to the chest. Time fractured. The noise of the mall faded to a distant hum. His breath caught. Those eyes. That face. For one impossible, devastating second, he saw Anya. Daddy, I found you. Emma's voice trembled with excitement. Her sticky fingers gripped his hand. Mama said you were out there and I found you. Nikolai couldn't move. Couldn't speak. His throat closed. The most feared man in the city, rendered completely helpless by 40 pounds of hope in a pink jacket. Victor tensed. Sir. But Nikolai didn't hear him. He was staring at the little girl's wrist. At the bracelet catching the fluorescent light. Silver. Delicate. A bird charm. No. His vision blurred. He knew that bracelet. He'd bought that bracelet. Emma. A woman rushed over, mid-30s, exhausted eyes, panic written across her face. She grabbed Emma's shoulders. Oh my God, I'm so sorry, she just... Emma, honey, that's not... But Mama, it's Daddy. Emma's eyes filled with tears. She wouldn't let go of Nikolai's hand. He came back. Claire's eyes met Nikolai's. She went pale. She knew danger when she saw it. This man, with his tailored suit and dead eyes and the 2 mountains of muscle flanking him. This was not someone her daughter should be touching. Emma now. Claire's voice shook. Please don't take her. The words left Nikolai's mouth before he could stop them. Raw. Broken. Just 1 moment. Claire froze. Nikolai slowly, carefully, lowered himself to 1 knee. Eye level with Emma. Up close, she looked nothing like Anya. But those eyes. That hope. What's your name? His voice was gravel and smoke. Emma Rose Carter. She smiled through tears. Are you really my daddy? The question shattered something in him he thought was already destroyed. No, he whispered. But I wish I was. Emma's face crumpled. And Nikolai felt his heart break for the 2nd time in his life. Claire pulled Emma back so hard the little girl stumbled. We need to go. Now. But. Now, Emma. Nikolai stood slowly, his knees weak. He watched them turn away, watched Emma's shoulders shake with silent sobs. Every instinct screamed at him to let them go. This wasn't his life. This wasn't his problem. He'd learned long ago that caring was a liability. But his eyes locked on that bracelet. Wait. His voice cut through the mall noise like a blade. Claire stopped. Didn't turn around. The bracelet. Nikolai stepped closer. Victor moved with him, hand inside his jacket. Where did you get it? That's none of your business. Claire's voice was ice, but he heard the tremor underneath. It is if it belonged to my daughter. Claire turned slowly. Her face was pale, but her eyes blazed. Your daughter. Anya. She died 3 years ago. She had a bracelet exactly like that. Exactly. His jaw clenched. I gave it to my ex-wife. I watched her bury it with... He stopped. Swallowed. I watched her bury it. The words hung in the air like smoke. Emma had stopped crying. She was watching him with those impossible eyes. Claire's grip on Emma's shoulder loosened slightly. A woman gave it to me. At the hospital. I worked nights in pediatric oncology. There was a little girl, end-stage leukemia. The mother was there every night and I just sat with them sometimes. When the girl died, the mother gave me this bracelet. Said she wanted someone kind to have it. Nikolai's world tilted. What was the mother's name? His voice was barely audible. She never told me her first name. I just knew her as Mrs. Volkov. The mall spun. Nikolai gripped the edge of the fountain to steady himself. Irina lied. She lied. Sir, we need to leave. Victor's voice was urgent. People are staring. Nikolai didn't move. Couldn't. 3 years. 3 years believing his daughter was buried with the last gift he'd ever given her. 3 years of guilt of that final image. And it was a lie. Why? The word ripped from his throat. Why would she give it away? Claire's expression softened slightly. She saw his pain. Recognized it. I don't know. She just said. She said she couldn't look at it anymore. That it hurt too much. Emma tugged her mother's hand. Mama, why is he crying? Nikolai touched his face. His fingers came away wet. He hadn't cried since the funeral. Nikolai watched them disappear into the crowd. Every muscle in his body screamed to follow. Instead, he turned to Victor. Follow them. Discreetly. I want to know where they live, what they do, everything. Sir. Everything. Before we begin, please hit that like and subscribe button and tell me where you're watching from in the comment. 4 hours later, Nikolai sat in his car outside a crumbling apartment complex in the worst part of the city. Graffiti scarred the walls. Broken glass glittered on the pavement. The kind of place where screams went unanswered and police didn't patrol after dark. Unit 2C, Victor said quietly. Single mother, 2 jobs. Waitress and overnight cleaning crew. Behind on rent. Eviction notice posted. Nikolai's hands tightened on the steering wheel. This neighborhood. Controlled by the Kozlov crew. Small-time dealers. Pimps. Dangerous for a woman alone. As if on cue, a man stumbled out of the building's entrance. Drunk, aggressive. He pounded on a ground-floor window. A woman's voice shouted back. A bottle shattered. Nikolai's jaw clenched. She's raising that little girl here. He was about to leave when he saw it. Unit 2C's door opened. Claire stepped out, clearly heading to her night shift. Emma stood in the doorway in pajamas. Lock the door behind me, baby. Don't open it for anyone. Okay, Mama. Claire kissed her forehead and left. Emma, 5 years old and alone, closed the door. Nikolai was out of the car before he realized he'd moved. Sir, what are? Stay here. He climbed the stairs 2 at a time. Reached 2C. Raised his hand to knock, then stopped. What was he doing? What could he possibly say? A scream cut through the thin walls. Emma's scream. Nikolai didn't think. He tested the door, locked. Put his shoulder into it. The cheap lock gave immediately. Emma was pressed against the far wall, eyes wide with terror. A man stood in the center of the room. Gaunt, twitching, eyes wild. Addict. He'd come through the fire escape window, still open behind him. Just gimme something valuable and I'll. He didn't finish. Nikolai crossed the room in 3 strides, grabbed the man by the throat, and slammed him against the wall so hard the drywall cracked. You have 3 seconds to leave before I break every bone in your body. The man saw Nikolai's eyes and went pale. Nikolai released him. He scrambled through the window so fast he nearly fell 2 stories. Nikolai turned. Emma stared at him, trembling. Then she ran straight into his arms. You came back, she sobbed into his chest. You came back. Nikolai held her. And couldn't let go. Nikolai sat on the worn couch, Emma curled against his side, her sobs finally quieting. The apartment was barely warmer than outside. He noticed everything. The flickering light bulb, the thin blanket on Emma's bed, the empty refrigerator visible through the kitchen doorway. This was no life for a child. Where's your mama? He asked softly. Work. She works a lot. Emma wiped her nose with her sleeve. She comes home when it's still dark. And you stay here alone? Emma nodded. I'm a big girl. Mama says I'm very brave. Too brave. Too young. He looked at the bracelet on her wrist again. Reached out slowly, touched it with one finger. Emma watched him curiously. My daughter had one just like this, he said quietly. Her name was Anya. Where is she? She got very sick. And she went to heaven. Emma's eyes filled with fresh tears. I'm sorry. 3 years old when Anya was diagnosed. 4 when the treatments started failing. 7 when she died in a hospital bed, her small hand in his, asking him not to cry. He'd promised her he wouldn't. He'd broken that promise at the funeral. Irina blamed him. This is your world's fault. Your enemies. Your poison. She'd screamed it at him in the hospital corridor. Maybe she was right. He'd built an empire on death. Perhaps death had come collecting. Did you love her? Emma asked. More than anything in this world. Mama says my daddy loved me too. But he had to go away. Nikolai looked at this little girl, abandoned, alone, living in poverty and danger, and felt rage build in his chest. What kind of man left his child in a place like this? Emma, does your mama have family? People who help you? She shook her head. Just us. But we're okay. Mama says we always figure it out. A noise from the hallway. Footsteps, voices. Nikolai tensed. His hand moved instinctively to the gun at his lower back. The door burst open. Claire stood there, breathless, panicked. A neighbor must have called her. "Get away from my daughter." Nikolai raised his hands slowly, stood. There was a break-in. Through the fire escape. I heard her scream. Claire grabbed Emma, pulled her close, eyes wild. "How did you find us?" "That doesn't matter." "It matters." Her voice cracked. "Who the hell are you?" Nikolai met her eyes. Decided on truth. Partial truth. "My name is Nikolai Volkov. And whether you like it or not, your daughter isn't safe here." Claire's face went white. She knew that name. Everyone in this city knew that name. "Get out. Mrs. Carter. Get out of my home." But Emma clung to his jacket. "No. He saved me." Claire held Emma tighter, but she was shaking. Fear. Exhaustion. The weight of holding everything together finally cracking. Nikolai saw it. Recognized it. He'd seen that same look in the mirror. "I'm not here to hurt you," he said quietly. "I'm here because a 5-year-old girl shouldn't be alone in a place where addicts climb through her window." "We're fine." "You're not." He gestured to the broken lock, the open fire escape. "And you know it." Claire's eyes glistened. "What do you want?" "Let me help." "Help?" She laughed bitterly. "I know who you are, Mr. Volkov. I know what you do. You think I want that around my daughter? You have me around your daughter right now. And the only reason she's not still screaming is because I was here." The words landed. Claire's shoulders sagged. Emma pulled away from her mother. Walked back to Nikolai. Took his hand. "He's nice, Mama. He told me about his little girl." Claire closed her eyes. When she opened them there were tears. "What do you want from us?" "Nothing. I want to give you something. Safety. A better place to live. Security. I don't take charity." "It's not charity." Nikolai knelt down to Emma's level again. "Your daughter called me Daddy. And for one moment I got to feel what I lost. That's worth more than money." The honesty in his voice broke something in Claire. She sank onto the couch, buried her face in her hands. "I'm so tired." Nikolai stood slowly. Made a decision. "Pack a bag. Both of you." "What?" "I own a building 6 blocks from here. Secure. Safe. Empty units. You can stay there tonight. Tomorrow we figure out the rest." "I can't." "Mama, please." Emma's voice was small. "I'm scared here." Claire looked at her daughter. At the window with its broken latch. At the cracked door frame. At the eviction notice on the counter she thought Emma hadn't seen. "One night," Nikolai said. "If you hate it, you leave. But one night your daughter sleeps without fear." Claire wiped her eyes. Looked at this dangerous man with his expensive suit and broken heart. Saw something in his face she hadn't expected. Grief. Real, raw grief. "One night," she whispered. Emma beamed. She grabbed Nikolai's hand again, squeezed it. "Thank you, Daddy." He didn't correct her this time. And when Claire turned to pack, she didn't see the way Nikolai closed his eyes, the way his jaw trembled, the way he held that small hand like it was the only thing keeping him anchored to earth. For 3 days it worked. Emma had her own room with a real bed. Claire slept without jumping at every sound. Nikolai visited each evening, bringing groceries, fixing the heating, sitting on the floor playing cards with Emma. He smiled. Actually smiled. On the 4th day, everything collapsed. Nikolai was in the parking garage when they came. 3 men, Kozlov crew, guns drawn. They'd been watching. They'd seen him with the woman and child. "Volkov's got himself a weakness," their boss had said. "Exploit it." The confrontation was brief. Brutal. Nikolai moved like death itself, disarmed the first man, broke the second one's arm, put the third on his knees with a gun to his temple. "Tell Kozlov if he comes near them again, I'll burn his entire operation to the ground." He didn't see Claire in the stairwell doorway. Didn't see Emma behind her, eyes wide. But he heard the scream. "Get away from us." Nikolai spun. The gun was still in his hand, still pressed against the man's head. Blood on his knuckles. His eyes wild, dangerous, the monster he really was. Emma was crying. Claire was pushing her back, shielding her. Claire, it's not. Not what? Not what I think. Claire's voice shook with rage and terror. You brought this to us. You brought them to us. The man on his knees laughed through bloody teeth. She's right, Volkov. You painted a target on them the second you gave a damn. Nikolai hit him. He dropped unconscious. Stop. Stop it. Claire screamed. Emma, go inside. Now. Mama. Now. Emma ran, sobbing. Claire turned on Nikolai with pure fury. I let you in. I let you near my daughter. And you brought your war to our doorstep. I'm protecting you. You're a killer. The word echoed in the concrete garage. I saw what you did. I saw what you are. And I was stupid enough to think. Her voice broke. To think you were different. Claire, please. My daughter called you daddy. She trusted you. And you know what you taught her tonight? That violence is how you solve problems. That monsters can be good people. That she should love someone like you. Each word was a knife. I thought. Nikolai's voice was raw. I thought I could be better. For her. For both of you. Claire's eyes were cold. You can't change what you are. And I won't let you destroy her trying. Where will you go? It's not safe. Safer than here. Safer than you. She walked away. And Nikolai stood there, alone, covered in blood, surrounded by broken men. Exactly where he belonged. Nikolai sat in his office for 2 days. Didn't eat. Didn't sleep. Just stared at the city lights and felt the emptiness return. Victor stood in the doorway. Sir, the Kozlov situation is escalating. They know you've gone soft. 3 of our shipments have been hit. Our men are asking questions. Handle it. They're asking questions about you. About the woman and the girl. Nikolai said nothing. Boss, with respect, this ends badly. For everyone. The organization needs you focused. They need the old you. Then they're disappointed. Victor's expression hardened. Sir, you're risking everything we built for a child that isn't even yours. Get out. Victor left. But Nikolai heard the truth in his words. He was risking everything. His empire. His reputation. His life. For what? A little girl who wasn't his daughter. A woman who hated him. A fantasy that he could be someone different. Claire was right. He couldn't change what he was. Claire packed their apartment. The old one, the dangerous one. She'd crawled back with her tail between her legs. Paid the back rent with money from her sister 3 states away. Swallowed her pride. Started over. Emma hadn't spoken in 2 days. Just sat on her bed, holding a stuffed bear Nikolai had bought her. Baby, we talked about this, Claire said gently. He's not safe. He saved me, Mama. I know. But he was sad. Like you when you think I'm sleeping. He needs us. Claire's heart broke. Sometimes people are too broken to fix, Emma. You always say love fixes things. Claire stopped. Had no answer. She'd taught her daughter that love heals, that kindness matters, that everyone deserves a second chance. Except him. Except the man who'd looked at Emma like she hung the moon. It's complicated, baby. Nikolai's phone rang at midnight. Unknown number. Volkov. Victor's voice. Cold. You left me no choice. Nikolai's blood turned to ice. What did you do? You chose her over the brotherhood. Over loyalty. Over everything we built. So now you choose for real. Victor, whatever you're thinking. I have the girl. The world stopped. If you hurt her, I will end you slowly. You'll do nothing. You'll walk away from her, from the woman, from this fantasy. You'll be who you're supposed to be. Or I deliver her to Kozlov as a peace offering, and we all move on. Victor. You have 1 hour. Choose your empire, or choose the girl. Not both. The line went dead. Nikolai was already moving. He'd made his choice 3 days ago when Emma first called him daddy. He just hadn't admitted it until now. Victor held Emma in a warehouse by the docks. Professional. Cold. A man following orders, even if those orders were his own. Emma wasn't crying anymore. She sat in a chair, small and quiet, clutching her stuffed bear. Your boss is coming, Victor told her. Then you can go home. He's not my boss, Emma said softly. He's my daddy. Victor's jaw tightened. He's not your father, kid. Yes, he is. He chose me. The warehouse door exploded inward. Nikolai stood silhouetted against the streetlights, gun drawn. But his eyes were only on Emma. Let her go, Victor. You're choosing wrong, boss. I'm choosing right. For the first time in my life. Nikolai lowered his weapon. Set it on the ground. Raised his hands. You want me gone? Fine. I'm out. The organization is yours. Take it. Take everything. Just let her go. Victor stared. You'd give up your empire? It was never an empire. It was a tomb. Nikolai's voice cracked. I've been dead for 3 years, Victor. She brought me back. So yes. Take it all. Just let me have this. A long silence. Victor lowered his gun. You're a fool. I know. He untied Emma. She ran to Nikolai, slammed into his legs. He dropped to his knees, wrapped her in his arms, held her like she might disappear. I knew you'd come, she whispered. Daddies always come. Nikolai's chest shook with a sob. Always, Lyubov moya. Always. Claire was waiting outside. Nikolai had called her from the car, told her everything, begged for a chance. When she saw Emma running toward her, safe and whole, she collapsed to her knees. Nikolai stood back, gave them space. But Emma grabbed his hand, pulled him close. Mama, he saved me again. Claire looked up at him, saw a different man than 3 days ago. Someone stripped bare. Vulnerable. Real. I'm out, Nikolai said quietly. The life, the business, all of it. I don't know who I am without it. Don't know what I can offer you except I want to try. To be better. To be the man she thinks I am. Claire stood slowly. Studied his face. She called you daddy. I know. I'm sorry. No. Claire's eyes glistened. She called you daddy because somehow she saw what I was too scared to see. That underneath everything you have a good heart. She took his hand. Emma took the other. And Nikolai, the monster, the killer, the broken man, finally came home. 6 months later. Emma ran through the park, her laughter bright as bells. Nikolai chased her, slower now, smiling. Claire watched from a bench, her hand resting on her growing belly. A new start. A real family. Emma tackled Nikolai into the grass. He let her win, always did. She pressed her nose to his. I love you, Daddy. The same words. The same eyes. But this time he had an answer. I love you too, moya dachka. My daughter. Not by blood. By choice. And that, he'd learned, was what made it real. We'd love to hear your thoughts on this beautiful love story. Let us know what you thought of this tale full of emotions and surprises. Tell us your name, where you're watching from, and rate this story from 0 to 10 if it touched your heart. And if you enjoyed the plot, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the amazing new stories coming soon. See you next time.